of my survival bow series. You may recognize this as what would be commonly known as a double bow or a Penobscot. Now, as far as an actual Penobscot bow, from what I've seen, pictures of actual ones, the geometry is a little bit different. But I got to thinking that it reminds me of that thing, how can you get an answer when you don't even know the question? Well, the question is, why a double bow? Now, a lot of people would look at them, including myself until I started making them, and say that the reason that the double bow was created was to give a compound bow effect. That seems to be the typical answer to this question. But from thinking about it, and also from the use, even though I have been able to make different geometries and plot the force draw curve, the FD curve, and see that it is possible to create a double bow that does have a different FD curve than just a single bow. The greatest advantage on these is that you can take substandard, and by substandard I mean not completely dried, not completely cured staves. Green wood is always easier to work. Produce a double bow and get a really darn good bow. And it's like, why? Well, there is such thing as called the neutral plane. If you have a single bow kind of running down the center between the area of tension and compression, you have the neutral plane. In this case, by adding a double bow with a little bit of space between them, I believe that the neutral plane is in the air. Oh, but what does that do? That creates an area of almost complete tension in the upper bow, pulling it apart, and in this bottom bow, an area of almost complete compression. And oh, big deal, what does that mean? Well, that means that by creating a bow on the upper side, the back of the bow, of complete tension, it's stronger in tension. You're not going to get any shearing forces or anything. It's just trying to pull it apart, which is pretty darn difficult to do. And in the bottom one, the entire bow, the back of this main bow and the belly, all compression, which means that you're going to get a lot less string follow or degradation due to use, and also just keeping it strung for a long time. Same as the top bow. Now this bow is made from the other half of the striped maple that you saw the bow of in the first video, and the second one is a little maple bow that I had. It's kind of short, and it's a nice bow in its own right, but when I combine it, I create a bow that can have a very long draw length, doesn't succumb to string follow for either bows, which means it's consistent shooting. I can expand that to say that if I was to use green wood in a survival situation, again, I question what that exactly means, because a person's body, if they're not gaunt when they get lost, can go days and days without food. And even in this situation, if I didn't see game, animal life, there's still a lot of plants to eat. If you were to strip the inner bark off of the firs and the tamaracks and the pines, you can get a nice starchy food that has nutritional value. Yeah, you could survive a little better on that. You don't need to go off and hunt a deer immediately upon getting lost. You can get plant material to eat, even like in a snowy wonderland. And so you can spend a little bit of time to construct a bow. You know, you need fats and protein and stuff like that, but it's a whole other thing. Back to my Penobscot, or double bow. I'm going to call it a double bow. I think that this is a valid way to make greenwood bows with less dry time than just making a single one. And it's pretty simple. Just split the things, do some rough tillering, tie them together with whatever. This isn't like a speech on how to make bowstrings or anything like that. And create a very viable survival bow. Because the point is, you want to be able to get a spring to launch an arrow that's going to be relatively consistent, and you'll lose that if you were just to bundle sticks together and wrap them with paracord or whatever cordage you have, or make a bow and you don't have the time to to let it cure properly to make a decent weapon. But anyway, you can see it. Draw it back. Oh, it's 16 degrees today, not like the 10 below for my first video, so it's rather toasty out. And get a really good draw length. 2 lighter bows, share the load, and make a heavy bow. This is probably about 65 pounds at, I don't know, 25 inches or so. But that is it. Now it's time to admire it. There we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for watching, and I hope I answered some questions about why the double bow.